Thank you, everyone. So I'm also going to take you back in time to 2018, where I shut down my tech startup and decided I'd go back home, which is India for me, to figure out how I'm going to resolve my quarter-life crisis. And during that time, I decided I'd help my friend Gail, who's now also Sally's friend, with a textiles education project in a small town in Pondicherry, which is in the south of India. And this is where I met Gayatri. So Gayatri comes from a village where their dowry system actually allows families to receive money when they marry their daughters off. So it's a little bit different. But Gayatri wanted to be a fashion designer, and her parents just couldn't afford any form of education for Gayatri. So it turns out that Gayatri's story is similar to my nani and my dadis, my grandmothers, who got married at 17 and 14 and didn't get to finish school. In fact, my dadi taught herself how to sew so that she could save money and make her 3 boys' clothes at home. Hi, Dad. And my nani learned how to sew because she genuinely loved fashion. And if she had the opportunity to work, she would be an incredible fashion designer. Now, I was born in a country where at the time, women didn't have the right to vote. In fact, the only reason I'm standing here in front of you all right now is because I won the birth lottery. I was born into a family that valued equal opportunities, and so they migrated into Australia just so that I could run for Prime Minister if I wanted to. And lucky for you all, I do not want to run for Prime Minister. But it's this birth lottery that we have no control over, yet dictates so many of the opportunities and lives that we get to live. And it turns out that there are so many more stories like Gayatri and my grandmother's. In fact, 82% of working women in India experience generations of systemic social and economic barriers to safe employment, influenced by this birth lottery. And this is why we do what we do. Sowing the Seeds is a social enterprise that provides textiles education and employment with women who face these barriers. So currently we operate in a centre in Pondicherry and we focus on 4 main pillars. The first is education. So we partner with local fashion schools and we pay the women for the time they're learning, so there's no opportunity cost to them. And so they learn things like cutting, pattern making, sewing, embroidery, etc. The second is employment. So we create the employment by hand making retail and wholesale textile products for customers across the globe. So this looks like customized tote bags for a conference in Queensland, all the way to a fashion line for a boutique in London. And it's because of customers like these, we've been able to create more than 150,000 hours of employment for 160 women in the gig economy and 10 women full-time at our centre today. The third pillar is earth. So with the making of our products, we try and make sure we look after Mother Nature in every way we can. One of the ways we do that is by upcycling saris donated by the local community, which would otherwise go into landfill in the making of our products. And so to date, we've upcycled more than 2,000 saris. And the fourth pillar is empowerment. So in our culture, we say that all women are born empowered, and we become disempowered along the way due to societal expectations and capitalism. And so what we try and do in our centre is create a space for the women to feel seen, heard, and hopefully more empowered. And we do this through facilitating weekly women's circles where we talk about us, challenges, and life. And some of the actions that we've actually implemented after their feedback is 1, we've set up all the women with their own individual bank accounts so that they have autonomy over the income that they're earning. 2, we've provided all their children with no interest loans for their education so that they don't take these other high interest loans that they were otherwise taking, and so they have more disposable income for themselves. And 3, we provide yearly full body checkups, mental health support, and menstrual health education and support. I'd say the greatest impact that we've had is that every woman at our centre today is the breadwinner of their families. And so that doesn't just translate into financial independence, but it translates into respect, freedom, and choice. So where to from here? So during COVID, there are many other organisations in India doing similar work to us, but they struggled to survive because they didn't have this international sales market to give women employment. So what that meant is that India's statistics around women, employment and poverty only worsened, which is why it's more important now than ever that we sow the seeds of our model into other regions and areas in India. So we've had many community leaders emailing us and asking us for support to reach out into their regions, but in the past we've never felt ready. To date, our centre in Pondicherry is being led by local women for local women, and we feel like we've validated our model enough to feel comfortable and ready to scale. And we want to scale into a community that we build trusted relationships with, and the community is Katusha. Now, to do that, from my experience, we need a few things, like a sewing machine, a female trainer, community leaders buy-in, which we have, a space, and the resources to set up that international sales channel for that employment model. And to do that in a meaningful way in Katusha, I need your support today. So $600 will fund one sewing machine. $20,000 will fund 8, and also the education program for 8 women and the space to do that in. And $35,000 will do all of the above, plus give us a space for a year, and also give us the resources to set up that employment arm. Now, the dream was always to have my grandmother's pitch about sowing the seeds, but unfortunately, they passed away before Sowing the Seeds was even born. And so it's always felt like serendipitously they've created Sowing the Seeds through me. So the new dream is to have women like Gayatri to pitch about something that she's passionate about, just like I am today, maybe at a TFN event one day. And I hope that we can sow that dream together through safe employment and education so that we see a world that leaves no woman behind. Thank you.